Can you relate to this? You've taught some workshops, classes, and then it stops, meaning you don't have a system that takes your workshop or class into the next logical thing. And you're having a hard time, maybe what's called converting or enrolling people into your bigger programs. Well, I'm here to tell you that I get it. I was that person too. I was teaching workshops all over Miami, all over Florida, all over the United States. And I would get a nice chunk of change, being a couple thousand maybe for the weekend, 800 for the day. But then I had to sell the next workshop, and then I had to sell the next workshop. And then so it was this constant, almost like struggle and hustle, which I'm all about hustling when you need to, but I'm not about struggling. So today's episode, we're going to focus on really like not getting ghosted afterwards, but maybe that's not even your problem. Maybe your problem is that you don't even have an offering that you can sell people into, and maybe you don't even have a sales system. So today is your day where we're going to change all that with a few tweaks. So the first thing is what I call the me first approach. In the wellness industry, in the yoga industry, what happens is that we become them first approach. Our clients, we want to serve, we want to help. And I'm all about that life, because if any of you guys have ever worked with me, or if you've listened to what I have to say, it is really all about you, but not at the cost of me. If I'm not able to pay my bills or feel like I'm struggling, or that I have fear as the baseline, that's not going to serve you at the end of the day. How am I going to pour into you with a half empty cup when really I need to pour into you with a full cup? So let's talk about how we can establish our sales system, our sales process that is a me first approach, where you're feeling full and you know that from that place, you're going to be able to help your clients in such a beautiful way. The first thing is to, apart from getting over that hurdle, is to understand what is the system. What is getting somebody from coming to your class or to your workshop and then being invited to, being presented that next logical thing? First, you need the next logical thing. So in my world, because I don't like having to sell and then sell and then sell and then sell, I like to enroll people into longer experiences. What does that mean? Transformational programs. Basically, it's your signature offer. And we're not going to talk about that today because that's a whole other subject. Today, we're really focusing on the sales process. So we have this transformational program. It's medium to high ticket, anywhere from 500 to 5,000. I know it's a wide gamut, but that's okay because they can both exist and the sales process is almost the same. So first of all, we need to understand the concept of frameworks. And when you guys understand this, I was telling this to a client the other day. When you understand the concept of frameworks, it's going to help you have a successive and logical next step. So for example, if my signature program has 5 or 6 very marked transformational milestones, what am I going to do? I'm going to base most of my smaller offerings off that as my future paced, right? As my guide. So I learned this from Russell Brunson, and he said it so well. When you have a framework, you can deliver that framework in an hour, in a year, in 3 months, in 2 days, because you are basically taking the pillars of your framework, those milestones, and you can tear them apart. You can pull one out. You can do an overarching. So it's really up to you to decide how you're going to base your smaller offerings from your bigger framework. When we understand this system of framework creation, we can guide people naturally into that offer, into that premium offer. So we have a sales pipeline, we have a sales pathway, and really it's about helping them see that next version of themselves. That's what sales is in the transformational world anyways. Imagine, or let me give you an example. So when I was teaching yoga primarily, I was very much about like the inversions, the arm balances. That was my thing. I loved it. I was really good at it. And people came to my class without being able to do crow pose. And when they left, I was able to teach, like they had that skill set. So I could create a big promise that said, learn how to do crow pose or learn how to do an arm balance. But that was part of my bigger system of eventually doing a whole like gamut of inversions. So what do you think people's like main objections are? Fear, I'm not strong enough, my wrists, I'm going to fall on my face, I'm too old for this, I don't have enough experience. So I can start already thinking in that like logical, psychological, right? Because they both live together, how I can present that next thing. Now, back in the day, I didn't have the next thing, which was my bad. Again, we don't know what we don't know. But if I were to do this now, I would teach an arm balance workshop and then invite people to my inversions program where we're going to work together. I'm going to give you the techniques. You're going to have accountability, whatever the deliverables are that are really based on those mile markers of transformation that are really based on my bigger framework, my signature system. What's happening? When we do a workshop, we are basically giving the whole time is value. It's not like a webinar where I'm like teasing and then I'm going to sell you into something. I'm actually going one level deeper because this is a paid experience. And when people pay you, you got to deliver, right? So what happens is that you've taken most of your time teaching, offering the transformation right then and there, that you've left very little opportunity and space for the next thing. Right? Or maybe you have been like going so deep and you're also not prepared to pitch. So, what does this look like? Why do we have this transactional fear of giving people that opportunity to join us? So, first of all, like, do we want to sell something from that event? It's up to you. There's two ways of selling at the end of the day. One is you can actually sell right then and there, which works fabulously, by the way. It has to be done with tact. Two, you can schedule calls with people afterwards. You could send everybody emails. You could send somebody text messages. Or three, you can get into DMs. For example, if I'm teaching at a festival, a workshop at a festival, it's very different than if I was teaching a 2-day immersive experience at a yoga studio. So there's time and place for how you use these three methods of selling people into the next logical thing. And it's up to you to discern when is the right time, when is the right place, and how you really do that offering. Because at the end of the day, like what you don't want to do is get ghosted. What you don't want to do is make it feel very uncomfortable for the client. You don't want it to be also like off the cuff. So this is where planning and practicing are going to really help you see that opportunity. It's like you're opening the door for them. At the end of the day, when we're talking about sales and we're talking about the next logical step or the offering, it is really about a win-win scenario. You're getting a transaction in terms of money. They're getting your time. They're getting your knowledge. They're getting your wisdom. So what we want to do is have the plan, execute the plan. And this can start with a simple online workshop. It could be a simple in-person workshop, but we want to work backwards from that signature series. And for all of you who are listening, if you're looking to get a free sales audit from me, just drop the word scale below and I'll be able to connect with you and we can schedule that complimentary overview. Because if you don't have a sales process, you don't have a business. So I want to make sure that this is something that you feel confident with and that I can help you at least plan out. What we also don't want is too much time. This is what happens with a lot of my clients. They like do the workshop, they're on the high, and then they like come back into their day to day. And now we've left like a week, 2 weeks without the follow-up. People will either have bought the thing or they'll have forgotten that it's important or it's just not in their priority. So we want to create a sales process that's pretty immediate and that gets people when they're most emotionally involved, which is right when they've been transformed, when they've experienced your magic. This is why in retreats, I love it when people come to retreats and then you have conversations, you get to spend time with people. So if you want me to show you where your sales combo is breaking down, or where you're maybe missing this opportunity, leaving thousands of dollars on the table, like I said, comment the word scales and we'll do a free sales audit. So what I want you guys to do is, at the end of the day, we want to have a succinct sales process that's going to take our clients from interested, transformed, and committed. And that last word right here is where you're going to see probably most of your income, and where we're creating that snowball effect, right? That cash stacking, cash snowball, because we start getting people to enroll in our programs and we deliver the services, we deliver the goods, and we help people in the long run. So I'm super excited to have shared this with you today. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. And remember, comment the word scale for your free sales audit.